Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the December 6th Bicycle, Pedestrian and Traffic Safety Committee meeting. If I can call the meeting to order and start our roll call. I'm Ed Holland, I'm chair.
Kevin Welch.
Angela Hay. Caroline Vertonghen.
Thank you, everybody. And a reminder, please, especially with the green LED microphones, to speak closely into them so that everybody can hear. You really need to be within about an inch of those devices. There we go. Thank you. First item on our agenda is for oral communications relating to items not specifically on the agenda or ongoing business. So if anybody has any item to bring to the committee's attention, either a resident watching the meeting on Zoom or somebody in the schoolhouse here, then please raise your hand and go ahead with any comment.
When we're paving when we're going to pave Westridge, will we put sharrows up or sharrows coming down for bikes as they have done on La Mesa in Ladera?
That's a question directed to Howard.
Yes, thank you, Angela. This is Howard, Public Works Director. Can you hear me now? So the Westridge project does not include sharrows. In fact, I mean, there's a limited amount of space there. Sharrows are related to the bike lanes, and there are no official bike lanes on Westridge, right?
No, the sharrows are the arrows that go in the middle of the road to share the road, to say that you share the road so that people know that there's a bike in the road. So it's because there's no bike lane that you have a big arrow in the middle painted on the surface of the road.
Absolutely.
Okay. So this is something new to me, a request. So let me take a look into it. It's currently not in the set of plans right now, but it doesn't have to be part of the resurfacing, and it could be added on at the end. So it doesn't. The resurfacing mainly is a lot of it is structural. It's asphalt related.
Yes, but after resurfacing, lines are always fog lines and everything are always painted, and they should be painted at the same time as the white lines are painted on the road.
Okay. So I will ask our traffic engineer concerning that, or the engineer that did the design plans to take a look at that, because we have to make sure the road width and how we're implementing it is correct. And once again, it's not a yes or no. It's basically, it's the first time I've heard of this request, so we will take a look into it.
It's exactly what they do on Arrastradero, so that in the really narrow parts, the cars understand that the bikes are going to be in the middle of the road. And that would really take care of a lot of the problems that we've been facing for years on that corridor. So I am all for Angela's.
Yes, and they just did it on La Mesa. If you look at La Mesa, which is a steep uphill, look at that.
Okay. And once again, on that project, that project upcoming will be a rebidded project. That is, so I hope I answered that question. Thank you.
Thank you, Howard. Caroline, I know you were next with a comment. Go ahead, please.
Great, thank you very much. As I emailed Mr. Holland to several items that I would like to bring to the agenda, and one of them is looking at our general plan and all the guidelines that we actually have in place to justify our actions. I believe several definitions of bike lanes are in the general plan. We have the Caltrans official guidelines, and at least we could then have the consultant Krupka here and discuss several items. I had also asked if our chair could share with us what the discussions were with the finance committee chair and with the trails committee chair.
Thank you, Caroline. Are there any other public comments at this time? John Paul, I see you are there. Please keep your comments brief, down to 3 minutes. We're all on a very tight schedule today. Thank you. They need to switch the microphone on. If it still has batteries, I don't know.
Good idea. Good morning, everyone. So I'm coming on behalf of almost, again, over 30 neighbors. We still do not have an answer from BTA to put at the bottom of the hill of Golden Oak 2 logs or 3 stones so that Alpine Inn does not have to put an employee there on the weekend. We have put a chalkboard. It has helped tremendously. The parking lot that they're using at the baseball field has been a total success. We're getting what I call the yo-yo, I guess, from your department and from Howard Young. He's going to look into it. Let's do this. Let's do that. I understand that. I'm sorry. What is the name of the gentleman? What's your first name? I forgot.
Kevin Welch.
Kevin brought up a very good idea that if I don't forget to go ahead and just put 2 logs down. We have the tree company down the street is willing to put the logs for free. They will look aesthetically very beautiful. And all the neighbors want to know why after 2 years, we still do not have an answer on this. That's my number 1 point. I would like to get some type of commitment to get those logs there. Howard's going to study, he's going to study the notes from 3 years, how many meetings we've had about it. We've analyzed everything possible to avoid accidents. I don't want to go over this. Let's see how we can please put just 2 logs down and keep all the neighbors happy, keep everybody safe. And it's ridiculous that the Alpine Inn has to pay an employee now on the weekends to stand there 8 hours a day. It looks like, you know, we're in a, I don't know if the word is police state or why there should be a gentleman sitting there all day long, Saturdays and Sundays. My second point is that we have a major water leak on Menorca and Golden Oak. We talked with California Water. Howard Young has done an amazing job. He sent geologists. California Water has been there half a dozen times. We've talked to every neighbor in the area up and down. And there's nobody has an excess water bill. Now, what we did discover in that the corner property where this water is coming out of belongs to Portola Valley or Stanford.
John Paul, is this relevant to traffic safety? Or
Yeah,
could you
very
take
much
this to
so.
another
Very
forum?
much so, because people leave that Menorca with wet tires, brake, and you hear the noise, just full of tire marks there. People go down and there's full of tire marks. And we're losing, according to California Water, $300 to $400 US a day of water. And we are not finding the solution. So I don't know what the solution is, but we've got to find a solution for this. Can we capture this water? Can we recycle this water? Can we put a tube there? We don't know if it's a spring, underwater spring. We are not finding an answer. This is going on for 5 months and it's $400 of water. And it is a very dangerous corner because when the cars go over with a wet tire, they pull up on Golden Oak and they go left and right. The brakes are wet. You can see all the tire marks. Thank you.
Thank you. Howard, I know you indicated to me you'd like to respond.
So currently, for what I know, not concerning what I know right now on the Alpine Road and Golden Oaks parking issues, that we've monitored the area and we haven't seen a current parking issue. Now, remember, we've talked about this long ago that the shoulder there is part of the right of way, the town's public right of way. I mean, it can be used for emergency people to pull over in an emergency. So if you do put impediments there, you know, that emergency can be taken away. And those were looked at before by our traffic engineer, who indicated that the logs weren't needed there. I did recently talk to some residents there, and they've indicated to me that there currently is no parking issue there. So that's my report on that. Number 2, yes, we have on Menorca, we have put a lot of time into that, and it is a mystery leak. I don't know if it's gone on for 5 months. We've been only aware of it maybe a month and a half. So we have contacted Cal Water, and they've been out there 5-6 times, and we've talked to them, and we continue to talk to them. We've talked to West Bay. I've called West Bay Sanitary. They videoed their lines, so they indicated it's not them. Now let me go back to Cal Water. Their initial thought process was that, and I've discussed this before at our previous meetings. when I brought it up. They indicated they tested the water and it's not chlorinated. So it's not, you know, so it's not coming from their pipes is what they're claiming at that point. And once again, we don't know what all the facts are now. I had the town geologist come out and they indicated that who knew that area very well from Conchires and Associates, because there was a landslide there, I guess decades ago, down up the street on Manoka. And we don't believe it's a spring because it came at the end of summer, started suddenly appearing. So we are still trying to figure it out right now. We've placed cones out there. I'm not aware of anyone complaining. In fact, we've been pretty proactive in letting people know, but I haven't seen tire. I have to go out and take a look at if there's any tire marks or any complaints. But it is just a wet spot about 50 feet before the intersection there. And we continue to look at it. But it is not an easy solution because the water is essentially pumping out. No one's claiming it. We've checked it with the utility companies. We've checked with we've knocked on doors up to immediate adjacent meters, neighbors, and I thought John Paul was out there too when we went out with the crew out there. So it is an active project that we are working on and trying to find out. But it's not going to be something easy because water could be traveling hundreds of feet or 1,000 feet away uphill down to this area. It could be that it's traveling in a trench that was dug in the street and was backfilled with maybe sand or drain rock, and someone could be irrigating. Someone could be pumping water, or there's a spring 1,000 feet away and traveling down that roadway and then popping up. We don't know yet, but there's going to have to be a lot of exploration to do that. And of course, one of the, if we don't find it, we'll have to put a culvert there, but that's tens of thousands, that's $15,000-$20,000 worth of work to do something like that. But I think what we want to do is do a thorough exhaustion of, to find out what it is. So that's all. That's my report. Thank you.
So,
Thank you, Howard. Caroline raised her.
so there's two clarifying questions. Is it property of Portola Valley? Is it property of Stanford? And if Cal Water tells the neighbor that it's daily $300 to $400 in water consumption, so they see something happening, then it cannot be a spring.
I think John Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, but you indicate that the amount of water is worth $300 to $400 a day. It doesn't mean that it's coming from Cal Water. It's just the amount of water if it was coming from Cal Water.
The amount of water that's gushing down that street is close to $300 and $400 a day of water. So we can't keep waiting and waiting and waiting. Let's do a temporary pipe, recover this water, do something with this water. It makes no sense that this is still going on, and this should be top priority. Regarding the parking at Golden Oak, every Saturday, every Sunday, Alpine Inn has an employee there. So Monday to Friday, it's slow, it's winter, fine. But every weekend, they have their employees sitting there 8 hours a day. And this we advised all of you. So don't tell me that it's less people going to Alpine Inn. There's no doubt that the parking lot down the street has helped. On the weekend, it's overflowing. Our Restadero is still full. Every weekend. In the summer, it was still full, even with a parking lot of using the baseball field. Our Restadero was full of cars. Okay, it doesn't belong to us. It's Palo Alto. So we need to put 2 logs there. We're going to have an accident, and we're going to have respect for Lori Hunter and all the team at Alpine Inn, which is the single or one of the single biggest income for the town of Palo Alto with their sales. So why can't we collaborate with them? And I speak on her behalf. I speak on the behalf of Greg, who's the manager of one of the partners there. And they said, Jean Paul, please see what you can do so we can put 2 logs there so we don't have to send an employee there every weekend. So that's the reality.
Thank
And
you,
it's the
John
same
Paul. I think
reality.
your point is well made. We'll continue to look at it.
Yeah, that's
Thank you.
another 2 years. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. I have an item in context of opening of the Hawthorns, which is a letter that we proposed to, has been proposed to send from BPTS, that I'd like to read in public at this stage, and then we'll deliberate that when we come to the Hawthorns part. I think that's a good procedure. Do you agree with me, Pat? So if
Absolutely.
we can just read that aloud, and hard copies of this are available who is here. But the point of this is to reiterate the requests for MROSD to look at the concerns and the ideas and the suggestions that we have as their process continues. So this is really a simple communication, reiterating what we've already agreed to communicate to them over again when their next meeting comes up on the 16th of December. So this is our really only opportunity to look at that in public here and go ahead. So let me please read that very carefully, and then we can come back to that on the Hawthorns agenda item. So, dear MROSD, I represent the Bicycle, Pedestrian and Traffic Safety Committee of Portola Valley. Our committee wishes to establish and maintain contact with MROSD with regard to the opening of the Hawthorns property, an MROSD property located within the town of Portola Valley. In a previous communication to the Public Access Working Group connected with this matter, BPTS outlined several points for consideration and requests. These were derived from PV resident feedback and committee deliberation. BPTS would again like to draw attention to these areas of interest as the process of the commissioning studies and planning public access to the site continues. While there are some definite points of concern, it is hoped that these communications are received in the friendly and constructive spirit in which they are intended. BPTS looks forward to an ongoing discussion with MROSD in that same spirit. As study activities and planning enter the next phases through 2023 and into 2024, BPTS wishes to emphasize certain particular areas related to the traffic study and site access. These items are outlined below. The items in the list, BPTS concerns and suggestions for attention of MROSD. BPTS points of concern based on resident feedback and committee discussions. Area 1 traffic study. It is understood that MROSD will commission a new traffic study in December of 2023. It is considered that this is of rather limited scope, particularly as it does not take account of expected seasonal variations in traffic movement and visits to Portola Valley. BPTS would like to request that any traffic study includes allowance for the following anticipated changes in roadway demand. Point 1, accounting for new traffic generated by the Hawthorns opening. Point 2, include speed data for vehicle types and travel directions. Point 3, seasonal variation. For example, 10 years observation at Windy Hill Open Space Preserve provide clear indication that there are great variations in visitor numbers throughout the year. Point 4, accounting for additional traffic resulting from new developments, e.g. Willow Commons, directly opposite one of the proposed access points on Alpine Road. This is a new development currently under construction due to complete during 2024. The final point, allowance for general increase in traffic numbers in respect of new homes built according to current and future RENA cycles. In the area of visitor access and other site access requests for consideration, that all potential access points remain under consideration during the planning process, including Los Trancos Road, and that changes to the site access comply with the Town of Portola Valley General Plan and designation of Alpine Road as an access corridor. I have made a mistake in this. I will correct it before this final draft goes out. That should say scenic corridor. Trail crossings, improvement and safe routes to school accommodations. Trail crossings shall be subject to Portola Valley's guidelines, as stated in the general plan, and reviewed by Trails and Paths Conservation and BPTS committees. Consideration shall be given to the existing infrastructure trails in planning site access points, and it is assumed that the chain link fence will be removed and that a multi-use trail outside the fence along Alpine Road will be available 24 hours and appropriate for consideration under safe routes to school specification. Defer this until we discuss Hawthorns a little further on, and I know Karen Askey is with us to hold that discussion along. Pat, do you have any comment?
Um,
Do you guys know what's going on?
Sounds like something happened at the schoolhouse.
We bounced.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this-
I'm gonna try to log back in and we'll see if that
Okay.
works.
This happened,
Does anybody have, I don't have Ed's
Oh, this,
phone number. Does somebody have his number to text him?
I do. I can look in the old school directory. Hang on.
I can't believe you have those handy, Karen. I'm very impressed.
You know why? It's been so handy. That's how I got in touch with him earlier this week. So I will send him a text and then we'll try to log back in.
Okay.
Oh. What?
I'll let Howard know.
What?
Also, yeah, included.
Oh, I could let
Oh,
Howard
thank you.
that too.
Okay.
I just texted Howard.
Oh, good. That's faster than what I'm doing since I'm still looking up his number.
Karen, I'm assuming you were there for coffee with the new town manager yesterday.
I could not make it. Just a tough time of year for me.
No,
So I
actually
did
was
not.
talking to the other Karen.
oh,
Oh.
yes, yes,
I saw Karen Batra when I was at the meet and greet.
yeah, no, it went really well. I think, yeah, I was there. I think it went quite well. I think he's doing a good job.
Good. I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah, no.
What were the kind of questions that you heard?
There wasn't that much actually. He kind of talked for a while and there were a couple of complainers on minor things. I kind of brought up I think we need a master list of like all the projects we could possibly do. And it doesn't mean there has to be a date on them, but I think that like you as a council have come up with a set of priorities, but then, dig down further, like what, when are we going to get an EOC back?
Yeah.
And just have it there. And I don't think it's just not there yet. That list.
I would love to get to that. And I had worked really hard when I was vice mayor working with Craig Hughes to get to that where we had priorities. I think we had 5 of them and then all the projects underneath of the priorities. Just so there was visibility there. And, since all of the turnover that has just gone to the wayside, but I would love to get back to that. I totally agree with you, Karen, like just kind of a project management lens on everything just for visibility. Yeah.
Yeah, and just to support that point, Sarah, in the Parks and Rec meeting last night, there's a number of things that we've gone to council that we're recommending, and they just continue to stay on the list. And it would be nice and then the public keeps bringing them up. And so it would be nice to have this so that everybody knows that it's being heard, right? And it's just a matter of prioritizing.
It's captured. I totally agree.
Yeah.
you, Karen. We
Yeah.
were there when I would say it was my second year on council. Took a long time to get there because they had never had a list like that. And that was, I worked on that project with Melvin. But unfortunately, just because of everything, it's just one more thing that's gone to the wayside. So I would love to get back to that.
Yeah, good. So I haven't heard anything back from Ed from my text. Should we?
It looks like
leave
the
and then-
internet connection dropped.
Okay,
So that's what I heard back from Howard.
okay.
I asked him if we should log back in together, but he didn't-
Yeah, I'm gonna leave. It's weird because I have a button that says end meeting for all, which is kind of scary. Does anyone else have that button?
No,
No,
but I
but
noticed that
When
when,
we bounced, Karen, it showed that you were now the host, which is
Yeah.
odd. Were you maybe the host last night?
Oh,
Why?
no.
Would be-
No, this is,
Oh,
no,
you're
so
back.
this has got to be,
We're
Oh.
back.
oh, good.
We just don't have audio.
Should have audio now. Can you hear
There we
us
go.
now?
Yes,
I apologize for that. We lost internet here at the schoolhouse for about 5 minutes. So
no problem. Ed, I also just want to say that I'm here on Mary Hufty is the liaison and she has a commitment. So I'm here on her behalf. Thank you.
Thank you. I assumed as much, but thank you for stating
Okay.
that. So let that stand for the record as well, please.
So this is Karen Askey, just to let you know where we got cut out was right after you asked Pat if she had any comments, and then everything froze and then went away.
Okay, Pat, would you like to cover that again very quickly and then we can move on?
Okay, I'm just, on my end, I'd like to revisit why we're thinking about having Los Tracos Road still on the potential entrances. It's more than 5 trees to cut, to keep that, or to open up the visibility line. It's more like 100 trees. It's a lot. And I don't even know if that would be enough. So concerned about that. I think we should be looking at the intersection across from Roberts as far as what's really going to happen there. And I'll focus on that a little bit. And also the potential that at that Los Tracos entrance, it may well become the pedestrian entrance where people park on the side of the road there and then walk in. So those are my latest comments.
Thank you, Pat.
Yeah.
Karen, did you catch that? We're still having some technical difficulties here.
Yeah, yes, thank you. We heard that loud and clear, and I assume there'll be a discussion later when we get to the Hawthorne's piece on the
Yes.
agenda.
Thank you. Sarah, I see you have a hand up. Was that from previous?
I just wanted to share some perspective on the comments. I can share it now, or I can share it later when we discuss Hawthorne's, whatever you prefer.
It's timely now, so yeah, go ahead, please.
I would just say based on my observation in the process with Hawthorne's to date, I am on the working group, but I'm not a voting member. But based on the discussions that I've heard and the presentations I've heard from MidPed, they are not considering Los Trancos. They have ruled it out of access issues and their perception of safety. So anything that I've heard from them, they've been pretty firm about that. So just FYI there. The other note regarding Willow Commons, yes, of course, there will be additional traffic out of there, but note none of the residents drive. So it won't be what you would typically see in a 12-unit apartment building. It would just be staff.
Thank you. I think I just want to make that make sure that the working group is aware that that change will come, so they can just make sure everything as much as we can is figured into the assessment process and whatever forecasting they're able to do. That's the purpose of including that there.
Mm.
Thank you. If nothing further on this, and I'd like to perhaps come back to it when we get to our Hawthorne's part of the agenda, but in the interest of time, I'd like to keep moving with our regular agenda and move on to the sheriff's report. Patrick, thank you for being patient with us. Please go ahead with your report.
Good morning. So we have in our reports the different stuff. So we have two accidents in October. One's on Minoka Road, which we have the addresses listed because that was one of the concerns. So 405 Minoka Road, vehicle was approaching Pine Ridge, collided with B2 right in front of on the side of the roadway. No injuries involved in that one. And then on the 18th, we went on West Ridge in the 400 block of West Ridge, 447 to be specific. Two vehicles collided there. Minor injuries involved. Nobody was transported. Citations for the month of October, we had 11 citations written. 5 parking citations for the month, just the one accident like we talked about. And then I broke down a report as asked for last time, which shows the addresses for citations being issued. That was one of the questions we had, was the citations were being issued and they wanted to know where they were being issued at. So I printed out this one showing exactly what the offenses were that were being written for, the dates, the times, and the locations of the incident.
Thank you. That's very helpful. Caroline, you raise a hand. Thank you.
So I would like to know why we have not received a copy of that.
I received it late last night and I have not had a chance to circulate it yet. I will do that today.
Okay, I mean, this is a request from the residents. This is a request from our committee. I hope that, Mr. Taylor, that you can provide that report a little earlier.
Thank you. I will make sure it's included in our minutes for this meeting so that it will stand on the public record.
But it's very hard to comment if we don't have it in front of us.
They can always comment at the next meeting. Thank you. Howard, go ahead.
I just wanted to comment, the accident note is at 405 Minoka, which is not close to Minoka and Golden Oaks. So I'm assuming that's not related, but it's quite a distance from Minoka and Golden Oaks.
And just to confirm, in that report, we're going to know where those parking citations were located.
If you want to go to list of parking citation and addresses, I can provide that also. Actually, give me a second, I can pull it up right now.
Yeah, that would be really useful.
Okay.
Yes, please.
We can add those for the future reports.
Thank you. And thank you for putting this together. It is going to be very useful.
Yep, agreed. Anybody have anything further for Officer Taylor?
When can we get people stopped for speeding? There are a lot of people speeding up and down Alpine Road. And we used to get 70 speeding citations a month when I joined the committee 10 years ago. Why don't we get that now?
Well, as we've spoken about in previous meetings, that there's recently we just started doing the traffic survey, had been approved recently and just sent over to the courts. So a lot of our officers who work in that area were not assigned to the ones who were certified in radar or LiDAR certification. So now we're going to start sending people into that area that work there. And if they are not LiDAR certified in that area, we'll get them certified to be able to do that. So that would increase the possibility of writing citations for speeding in those areas.
Okay, thank you. What point do you think that training will be completed and we can see the effect?
I'll speak with the patrol sergeants right now, and then they can reassign people if they need to patrol those areas that have radar LiDAR certification.
Right, yeah, thank you. Caroline, one last comment.
In the sheriff report, there is a list of exhibit A, list of services that the sheriff is providing. And it would be helpful that this becomes a discussion item for our committee, whether it is education or, we need to understand how the sheriff can help us improve safety, because many suggestions have been made over the years and nothing has been done. So we need to make some progress. It's in our charter, it's our duty. And so we would like to see some progress, and we hope that the sheriff can help us and clarify the services that they have proposed in the years that we paid for in the last few years, but we might not have seen active participation. So I would like to have this on as an agenda item.
Okay, thank you, Caroline. I think to follow up with that, what Caroline is asking is that I know the SNC Sheriff run programs on safety, on bicycle training, and things that we've seen in the past years prior to things slowing down with COVID. It would be helpful if you could come to our next meeting with a review of the programs that exist currently and we're looking at in the future for 2024 and see how that we could tap into those here in Portola Valley. So thank you. That's some food for thought for next time.
I have a question.
Kevin, you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. Now it's dark at 5 o'clock at night. I'm noticing a lot of bicyclists are not complying with the state law for lighting the front and the back of their bicycles. I have never seen a cite myself on a bicyclist for not having a front light or a back light.
Well, I mean, I can vouch for myself and say I've written numerous lighting citations on bicycles in the past, but as of right now, I don't see any in Portola Valley on this roster of citations for that issuance, but it's something I can make the teams alert of and have them look for it.
Right, isn't it like 300 feet forward with a white light and it's 500 feet in the rear?
I don't remember the exact word, but I can look it up for you if you want.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. We're nothing more for Patrick. I'd like to move on. Thank you, Patrick, for attending today. Oh, we didn't do, it's not on the agenda. Yes, yes, it is. I beg your pardon. We do need to go back to item 3. I always miss this. There's a motion to approve the minutes submitted for the November 1st, 2023 meeting. Caroline, I see you have a hand up with a question.
Thank you. I would like to make a correction, page 3, under item 6.2.2. I would like to remove my comments as reported here. She was concerned that Menlo Park had a higher rating than Portola Valley in the grand jury report, which she believed implied that Menlo Park was safer town than Portola Valley for cyclists. I reviewed the recording and I cannot find that. There was a whole discussion, so I just want to eliminate that sentence. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. In observance of Caroline's comment, removing that comment, I propose that we accept the minutes as submitted with that modification. Do I have a second, please?
I second that.
Thank you. Show of hands to approve the minutes with modification. Thank you, everybody. Let's move on to our, skip back forward to our item 5, which is Public Works update from Howard Young.
Thank you, Ed. As under general update, no, we haven't received any major complaints known or related to traffic. We're going to be working on the next couple of months is storm prep. That's one of our biggest things we work on. We brought some more sand and sandbags. So if there's any questions, let me know. We typically send out a notice to residents, mid-December concerning just storm prep in general. B, the crosswalk upgrades timetable. I think we're still, as I announced before, we're still looking at spring 2024. We are assembling. We're in the process of looking at bid packages because of the amount. Because of the amount, we have to go out to. There's a formal bid. There's an informal bid process. There's a bid process that the town has to go through. So that is what I and Quapka are looking into right now. That's my general report update. Just a reminder that the town does close between Christmas and New Year's, and the Public Works Committee will be helping us, keeping an eye on the place. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Howard. I do have one roadway maintenance item I'd like to bring to your attention, is that the shoulder in front of church, between Valley Presbyterian and Town Centre here is rather full of tree debris and is narrowed. So the bicycle rideable part of the shoulder is diminished. Would be helpful to that. Thank you.
Following up on that, I think we're less than 5 feet going up by the sequoias because the grass is growing just up by the side of sequoias. It's less than 5 feet. And the opposite too, when you come down Portola Road, the other side where we made it wider before is narrowing just after farm, the farm road, across the road. That's another place, but the shoulder is definitely less than 5 feet.
Thank you, Angela.
Yeah, we'll have the crew take a look at those items. So, and once again, if you have immediate concerns on certain locations, you can also use PV Connect. This time of year, there's a lot of leaves dropping down right now. We remove them, but it's almost in a couple of days, same amount of leaves come back. So we'll take a look at those areas and we'll try to clean them. Got it. Okay, we'll take a look at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Howard. Let's move on to our ongoing committee business items.
Excuse me,
I beg your pardon, Carolyn.
there was one more item, crosswalk update timetable for completion.
Howard spoke to that, mentioned that the timetable to complete in spring 2024 is still the intention and that the bid process is beginning. Is that correct, Howard?
We are not beginning, but we are working on it, but it is subject to the bid process, we believe right now, due to the amounts of dollars involved. And that is just a standard town public contract and town process.
But there were several items on the warrant list that I have mentioned to town council and here several times during the committee meetings. We have consultant Krupka doing surveys, speed surveys, ongoing traffic and transportation issues. But we don't see any reports and we don't see any improvements. At least, these speed surveys we should see, because if indeed these are taken for justifying the flashing beacons, then we should be able to see them. Several residents have asked to bring this back as a public hearing. It's been too long. $60,000 was approved by grants, but that is a small portion of the whole project. And at this time, we don't even know if it's necessary. We have lived without them for so many years. We don't cross there where they're proposed to be placed. So I think they should be brought back as a public hearing.
Howard, do you have any comment to that?
I'll leave the public hearing part to you, Ed. So you can contact me if you want to find out the details of any invoices. I mean, there are other operational items that traffic engineering that we need that contribute to those things. So if you have a specific issue with one invoice, just contact me and I can let you know. Concerning the speed surveys, he did work on it, and we were working on it with him. Once again, if you want details, those are really minute operational details. I don't know if you want to get into that or not. But you're welcome to call me and talk to me about, if you want to question an invoice. And on concerning another public meeting for the lighted cross rapid flashing beacons, I'll leave that to you, Ed.
Hey, thank you, Howard. Just to back up, perhaps what Caroline is asking, maybe as you get bids in on items per site, it would be interesting to have some visibility of those as we go forward.
Understood.
Thank you. On the matter of a public hearing, I think that might be a worthwhile thing once we get maybe more concrete engineering designs in. But it's not something I'd considered at this point. We've agreed this as a a plan to go forward for a very long time since we initiated the pedestrian safety study and then reviewed Paul Krupke's report on the recommendations. And those were accepted by this committee and by the council.
Okay. I will restrain, no, but, I don't agree with it.
Thank you. I do agree with it. I think other members of this committee also agree. We've all seen residents, children waiting to cross the street with cars not stopping. And I think anything that we could do to improve their safety and the chance of a car seeing that somebody is waiting to cross the road and can cross safely is a very good thing to do. And that can be lights, flags. I'd prefer it to be lights and flags and crosswalk volunteers to help school children. So let's keep moving on forward on those things. Thank you. I think our next item is our ongoing committee business, and I'd like to get through as much of this as we can today, please. If we return first to the Hawthorns property update from, we do have an update that there was the meeting on October 26th, which is a special meeting of the Open Space Trust Public Access Working Group. I don't know if it's worth giving a summary of that. Either Karen or Pat speak to that.
I really think that we've covered the summary, a lot of it as far as your letter, where we stand. We've only got a few minutes. Maybe we're best to open it to discussion and comment.
Okay, I think we have, at most 10, 12 more minutes for discussion entirely in the meeting. I do perhaps agree, maybe go around the table, particularly on the matter of whether we continue to emphasize a desire to look at different access points or whether we choose to drop that from the letter might be a good thing to discuss at this point. And Karen, please weigh in if you have any comment toward that. But it seems like, from what I've heard, the Public Access Working Group and MROSD have already made up their mind about that, and that may be just barking up the wrong tree.
Right.
So comments along the panel, please. Maybe Carolyn, would you
Sure.
like to start off?
I really appreciate the letter. I really like the summary. And so I would like you to move forward with it. I think we have to emphasize that we like 2 entrances and Los Trancos should not be excluded. Why? We had the residents come to our meetings and to the public meetings. They said it's better to emphasize what is needed. We cannot concentrate everything on one entrance, which is in our scenic corridor, where we have already traffic problems that we have been trying to mitigate for so many years.
Divine traffic problem.
Traffic problems, we might not have, okay, so you have the Nate Horst triangle, or the intersection Portola Road, Alpine Road. That's a big problem. It's only solved by crossing guards. And that is only in the morning. We have the bikes.
There's other solutions besides what you're thinking of. We can, and so another thing we've talked about on that intersection, because it definitely is, besides it being our only intersection, there's a lot of trouble there.
Mhm.
But by painting, putting correct marks, directional marks on the road, on the intersection, which is something that we've talked about with Howard and proposed, that would be as big of a solution to that problem as it would be opening up another entrance.
But the town doesn't want to do the
But
striping.
the town, how many people?
No, the
I'd
town
love to sample
officials.
it.
I
What
thought
do you-
it's the town officials who don't want it.
But what do you think?
I'm all proposing for it.
You want to have Los Trancos open?
I would like to have Los Trancos open.
Okay, let's move along quickly with everybody's opinion on that
Yeah.
one point. Thank you. Angela.
I think that maybe Mid-Penn have made their decision, and we've, you know, we can't do anything about it. That's what I think. And also, the concern about the Willows is not that there are too many cars coming out of their property. It is that cars coming out of the Hawthorns might not see some of the Willows residents who could be on bikes or walking.
Thank you.
That's an interesting point.
Pat, would you like to?
And I've got some edits on a couple of edits.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I think that's, we're going to have other problems that are gonna develop. People parking on Los Trancos Road because they're going to use it as a pedestrian access, whether it's official or not. And the cluster, as far as having everything right at Roberts, and what we need to address that to make sure it's safe.
Thank you, Pat. Kevin, your comment?
The comment that I have, Ed, is that I want to wait until the report comes out for the study of the traffic flow. I know right now we're running about 8,000 to 10,000 cars per day on Alpine Road and as well as Portola Road. So I would wait and add more of my recommendations at that point after the report comes out.
At what point do we anticipate that traffic flow, that traffic study will be complete, Howard? I think there is not time based on what we understand MROSD already has planned.
And the town's not currently involved in technically involved in the technical process right now. So I don't know when, they haven't told us when that is going to be done. Because this is, once again, they're working on their public outreach. They're working directly with the community and the public. So this is something that they're doing, and that we're not aware of their timeline right now until they start submitting things to the town officially. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one other thing, which is entrances from Portola Valley Ranch. If they had a Sweet Springs Trail near Alpine entrance into the property, people could park on the ranch, the first ranch entrance. And the other one is at the very end of Valley Oak. There's quite a bit of room for parking where the turning circle is there. And you could have an entrance in from Sweet Springs Trail on the other end of it into the property for hikers.
Thank you. Karen Askey and Karen Vatra, I assume it's Karen Vatra. Karen Askey, go ahead, you have a hand up.
Hi, thanks. So just a quick update for all of you. In the POG, I think, has been really listening to the concerns of the town and the committees. And instead of doing a site tour as they'd planned, hoping they'd gotten further with their design, they're going to be continuing their design discussion. The meeting is Saturday, December 16th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at their office, but there's also there'll be a Zoom link, and I would encourage you to attend and even fill out a comment card, and you can always decline to comment if you have nothing there. I have a question for, I believe this is going to be Howard, which is Mid-Penn has let me know they've contacted town staff about their upcoming traffic study, and I'm wondering if that was you or you know who it is, and if a request was made to have a more comprehensive study than just do this one in December. I think Pat's comment about pedestrian traffic is very, very good, because I completely agree, because one of the things that I felt, the POG is extremely supportive of trail access to Los Trancos Road. And if that's the case, and there are trailheads there, or the ability to get onto a pedestrian trail, there are going to be people parking over there. And I think I would encourage you guys in your letter to ask the POG and Mid-Penn to address that potential issue. I think it's a really good issue that will probably happen. And then the last thing, which is very minor, is that not only is there the Willow Commons development, but probably what might have more impact on traffic is the development that will occur behind the country offices there at some point in time. Now, I don't think MidPen can really truly assess that, but I think it's worth bringing up. And then the last thing I would say is, even if MidPen has decided against Los Trancos, these are our wishes that we're putting out, or our what we want. And so I think it's okay to ask for it or explain that we think 2 points of access is better, but MidPen, obviously has the decision-making authority there. So, but I think it's great you put this letter together, and I know the POG really reads these things and takes them to heart. So it's, I commend you for doing it. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Howard has one comment, and then I'd like to move on to Karen Vatra.
Hi, Karen. Just to answer your question, I and the interim building and planning director, John Biggs, did speak with MROSD staff concerning the traffic counts. Now, once again, the study that they're doing right now, they're doing it with the public and community for outreach, not officially submitting it to the town, but based on the input received, we discussed it, and it was their option to do to go from the 2-day count to the 7-day count. We kind of discussed the pros and cons about it, and they basically wanted to do it, to do more work based on those comments. Now, I know that they explained their rationale for the 2-day counts, and essentially the rationale is they took the 2 highest days counts, as the other days could be lower in count and lower the weekly average. So that's why they took the 2 days. But now, based on requests from the public and comments, they decided to do that. And I think it also in the spirit of cooperation too. So that was a good thing that happened, that they suggested. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Howard. Karen Vatra, please go ahead with your comment.
Yeah, really quick here. I think your letter's great, but one point, minor, and it's not really that minor, point that's missing is about bicycle counts. And I am a bicyclist also, not nearly as active as you are, but I'm a kind of a fair weather bicyclist, and I don't think that's uncommon to not really want to be out there in December riding a bike, going up and down hills and getting really cold in the wind. So my traffic concern of the study in December just seems like the bicycle traffic, like the hikers, is not nearly as frequent. And when I was out there in November on site, there's a really significant thing that I don't think people may realize, that when you're exiting the Hawthorns, you are dealing with people bicycling quickly. And when you're exiting, most residents are exiting onto Alpine today from our homes, you're dealing with people going uphill, and they're much, much slower than people going downhill. So it's like kind of night and day. And when I was leaving, there was only one cyclist, but I couldn't really gauge his speed. And it's kind of it's harder when they're going 15 or 20 miles an hour instead of going 8 or 10. And I think that the letter sort of somehow addressed that concern. I would appreciate that.
Thank you. That's a good point. I can see how that can be easily modified in the early part of the traffic study requests. So thank you very much for making that point.
Ed, in what she was saying, I thank you, Karen. But that was the same thing we were talking about as far as how dangerous Los Trancos Road is as far as bikes in both directions.
Mm-hmm.
Visibility and speed.
Okay, thank you. I do somewhat agree with Karen Askey's point about saying, well, we should just leave the request in there. It's a request to keep looking at it. We're not in a position to make demands. Thank you, Kevin. And they're not obliged to listen to what we request, but there's no harm in asking.
So should we ask Kevin for his motion? Can we, or can we do it? We have
this
enough-
is
we
this is
still have a
somewhat of an
quorum?
informal process since we don't have a vote actually tabled on the agenda, but it's just what would we like to include in the letter, I think.
Oh, I was going to propose a motion to accept the letter and submit it before the December 16th meeting.
I can't-
still call for something to vote.
Okay,
It's in-
I'd understood that it had to be more specifically detailed out. I don't know if how would you, are you aware of the procedure, or Sarah, could you direct us a little on that, please?
I can chime in first. I thought that if we're approving a letter, that the letter had to be in the packet. And this is the first time seeing the letter.
Is
Um,
this?
Oh,
You're
I
talking
saw-
about submitting the letter to MidPen in advance of the December 16th meeting? You can just go ahead and submit that if you guys all agree to it.
Yeah.
You know, if you guys want to have a formal vote, it's fine, but I think it's also fine for you guys just to submit it. It's up to you.
Sarah, thank you. That's very helpful. Karen, I see you have a hand up with one more comment. Karen Askey.
Yeah, thank you. This is just a follow-up thought to the request for a more comprehensive study, and is a question, which is, what is the likelihood, and should we point it out, that the town, when this finally gets to the town may want more data and therefore have to initiate some further study that delays the process. It's just a thought, which is, if it's not done the way we want the first time, is it going to delay the process? And is that something that should get pointed out? And I don't know. I don't know if we know that, but it just came to mind with all this.
Thank you, Karen. That's a good question. I mean, that request for more information could come from residents, it could come from committees, and it could also come directly from the council, or it could come from town staff, not in the planning process, saying, well, we don't have sufficient information. But Howard, do you have any anticipation of how that might play forward?
No, I do not. This is, at this point, we don't have an official submittal, so we don't know how to comment on that yet.
Thank you. So perhaps referring to, returning to Caroline's point about agreeing that the letter could be sent with some of the modifications in language agreed. I'd propose that perhaps we retain a notion to keep Los Trancos Road under discussion, even though we know probably the lie of the land there with the consideration that's being given by MROSD. There's perhaps one final comment on that.
Well, the other thing we could do is add Angela's ideas as far as options. Or maybe just add a word saying investigate options.
So let me go back over the current wording, which was that all potential access points remain under consideration during the planning process. And that it then says, including Los Trancos
Yeah,
Road.
maybe we want to include,
And access to Portola Valley Ranch Trail.
yeah, access to Portola Valley Ranch
Virtually
Trail.
Sweet Springs Trail at both ends.
Yeah, I'd not included that in this because I wanted to keep everything traffic specific. And I know the Trails and Paths Committee would be looking at those areas. So
But
It
the
affects the parking. where you park.
parking, totally, absolutely.
So just give me that wording again, please.
Yeah.
So including Los Trancos Road.
And access to the property from Sweet Springs Trail. because that has implications for parking. And
Thank you. I will also amend the traffic study part to request more information about speeds, travel directions and types of vehicles. So that specifically cars, service vehicles, bicycles are all given a discrete consideration.
Mhm.
And then Angela, thank you again for your notes and comments on the rest of the letter. And so I think with that, I propose that we go ahead and submit this in time for the December 16th meeting.
Thank you.
That's accepted. Thank you very much, everybody. Perhaps we can take just 5 more minutes to go through. I think we can cover the rest of our agenda. Item B of our ongoing committee business, that would be 6B, is Windy Hill parking restrictions and changes to signage. Howard, do you have any update on that, please?
No, I don't, unfortunately. So it's still in progress, getting to work, getting to it. Thank you.
Okay, is that would that be in terms of getting to having an outline design or actually continuing some installations?
It would be just working towards installation.
Thank you, Howard. We really ought to get another microphone. Let's see, last Safe Routes to School Subcommittee update, if there is anything from Caroline.
Yes, there is.
Wonderful, thank you. Go ahead, please.
So we got in contact with the San Mateo County Education Department, specifically, who has helped us, the town of Portola Valley, with a very successful program in 2013, 2014, to improve school safety, and it was basically through education. But they have several other programs, and I have a whole list of them. That list was submitted to me right before Thanksgiving. And as of last night, I got the first document. It is for a grant. Unfortunately, it has to be submitted by January 9th. It has to be submitted or filled out by staff employee. But I'm volunteering to help with that. And hopefully I can then go to Public Works or someone else to help me finish it. If there's anybody else within our staff who can do that, please indicate so. But yeah, we're making progress.
Thank you very much. That's really good progress. Thank you, Caroline. Howard, could you, what help can you offer Caroline with completing this grant processes through town staff?
I haven't seen the grant yet, so I can't speak to it because sometimes they could be a very simple grant, or sometimes it could be a couple inches thick of submittals, as we worked on before. So, and it's not clear to me if previously, because if the school, because I know the school did this, was in charge back in 2013. The school district did this. The money went through the school district. So I don't know. It's not clear to me who does it, and if we're picking it up, and how the grant works. So if you can send me the information for the grant, then I can take a look at it to see what it is. Thank you.
Actually, with the permission of the chair, I will forward the emails with all the several projects that they have. Some are not just for school safety, like the one that we're trying to get now is the school travel fellowship. And it is, we don't have time to read the paragraph, but it identifies there's several programs. There's even a program that they bring in Alta planning and design, and they come out and see, for instance, a roundabout would be proposed, and then they make a mock-up roundabout, and it's with a top trial period. So this is something we can look at and further discuss.
Please share the information.
Yeah. Yeah, sounds good.
I think, yes, if you can do that, that'd be great, because identifying certain intersections, it's gonna be important to go through the public process before we start searching for a grant also, so. But if you could forward me the information, we'll take a look at it.
Thank you, Howard. Last thing on our ongoing committee business is any update. Is there any update from the Alternative Transportation Infrastructure Committee? Which I think is Angela and Pat. Nothing currently, thank you. Item 7 would be discussion of events. We have no upcoming events that I'm aware of. Moving on to item 8, which is matters arising. I think there is nothing to discuss there. With the approval of the committee.
Why don't we look at matters arising? What are we going to do to recruit more people?
That's a good question.
You know, we look at that every month and we don't do anything. So we need more people in this committee.
I can add that to that.
So what are we gonna do about it?
We can begin with a post on the forum. Or can begin
Could we
with a-
put something on the forum? Could we?
Of course.
Invitation maybe including some of the things that we've been working on so people can understand the relevance.
Yeah. We can draft something amongst ourselves and send it out through Carrie.
I'll work on something and submit it as far as a PR piece.
Thank you. That's great, Pat.
And we can submit it to the liaison, the trails liaison, who's also a subcommittee for safe routes to school. She has
Yeah.
connections with the schools.
Absolutely.
Very good.
I know Angela has asked to find a volunteer to replace her, and I'm willing to do.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you.
I think on that up note, we will adjourn the meeting. And our next regularly scheduled meeting will fall on January 3rd next year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy holidays to everybody. Thank you very much.